The history of humanity is full of strange gaps, but the most intriguing of them is hidden not in dusty archives, but right under our feet and above our heads. Imagine a world where vegetables reach gargantuan sizes without a gram of fertilizer, where plants never fall ill, and where the soil becomes more fertile every year all by itself. This is not a description of a mythical Garden of Eden, but the actual reports of the French inventor Justin Christofleau, dated 1923. Christofleau was not a magician. He was an engineer who understood one fundamental truth. We live at the bottom of a colossal electrical ocean. The Earth's atmosphere is a giant battery, where the sky is positively charged and the ground is negatively charged. Between them, an invisible energy constantly circulates, what the ancients called ether and modern physics calls atmospheric electricity. In the early 20th century, Christofleau installed simple 3-meter-high wooden poles on his plot, wrapped in copper wire and topped with iron points. If we look closely at the architecture of the Old World, which official history calls purely decorative or religious, we see something else entirely. Gothic cathedrals, ancient Egyptian obelisks, golden domes, and the iron spires of antique buildings all bear a striking resemblance to modern antenna systems. Copper, gold, iron, and quartz stone are materials with high conductivity or piezoelectric properties. The theory of electro-culture asserts that our ancestors did not just build beautiful buildings. They created a global network for collecting and distributing atmospheric energy. A cathedral spire is not merely a symbol of faith, it is a high-voltage receiver. An obelisk is not a monument to a pharaoh, but a capacitor stabilizing the Earth's magnetic field within a radius of several kilometers. In old gardening books, one can find blueprints for so-called magnetic grids and etheric collectors. People knew that if metal rods were positioned in a specific order relative to magnetic north, plants would begin to vibrate at a higher frequency. This vibration structures the water inside the plant cells, turning it into a liquid crystal. This explains why ancient gardens at monasteries and castles were described as places of supernatural fertility. However, at the end of the 19th century, the Great Replacement occurred. The Industrial Revolution demanded centralized control. J.P. Morgan and other titans of industry realized that if people could draw energy from the air to light their homes and grow their food, the empires of monopolies would collapse. The technologies of Nikola Tesla and Justin Christofleau were branded as pseudoscience, and the world was hooked on the needle of chemical fertilizers and copper cables running from power plants. To understand exactly how electroculture works, we must look into the micro-world, where biology meets quantum physics. A plant is not just a biological mechanism consuming nitrogen and phosphorus. It is a complex antenna. Every needle on a leaf, every tendril of a vine is designed by nature to interact with the Earth's electromagnetic field. When we install a copper antenna in the soil, we create a local amplification of this field. A process of electrolysis occurs in the soil's water, making minerals more accessible to the roots. But most importantly, there is nitrogen. The atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, but plants cannot absorb it directly from the air in large quantities. Electroculture changes the rules of the game. The weak currents passing through the antenna ionize the air around the plant. Negatively charged nitrogen ions are literally pulled toward the soil and leaves, acting as an invisible, infinite fertilizer. This is the very manna from heaven mentioned in ancient texts. Furthermore, the magnetic field affects the structure of water. Ordinary water, under the influence of spiral copper antennas, the so-called Lakovsky coils, acquires the properties of meltwater. It penetrates cell membranes more easily, accelerating metabolism tenfold. This is why plants in the zone of such antennas not only grow faster, but also acquire immunity to frost and drought. They simply vibrate at the frequency of life, which is higher than the frequency of diseases and fungi. For years, we fought nature with poisons, forgetting that it is enough to simply give her the right energetic signal for her to reveal her colossal potential. Today, we stand on the threshold of a great return. Electroculture is experiencing a renaissance in private households worldwide, from small farms in France to backyards in rural Australia. People are rediscovering the secrets of the spirals of life. It turns out that a simple copper wire, twisted clockwise around a wooden stake, can replace a year's worth of saltpeter. This knowledge is dangerous for those who sell us hybrid seeds and toxic sprays because it grants a person true autonomy. Freedom begins not with slogans, but with the ability to grow clean, healthy food with your own hands, using the free energy of the sky. Imagine a future where our cities are not shrouded in smog and wires, but pierced by elegant spires that simultaneously provide light and make urban parks look like jungles, where agriculture does not destroy the planet but restores its magnetic balance. This is not a utopia. It is our forgotten past waiting for its hour. The secret of the ether was not destroyed. It was simply hidden in the most prominent place, in the architecture of our cities and in the quiet hum of the atmosphere before a storm. We do not need to invent anything new. We simply need to remember how to connect heaven and earth. And then the very first sprout, entwined with a copper spiral in your garden, will become proof that the world is much more complex and wonderful than we were told in textbooks.